Hey, welcome back. I'm Johnny Blue. In this video, I'm going to list out step by step how you can get into the van life thing without changing too many things in your current financial situation. How you can get the van, update it, make changes to it, and essentially get it to pay for itself. These steps will not include having rich parents, being independently wealthy, or being a genius at digital marketing and being able to work anywhere off your laptop, which is what most people will advise you to do. The quickest and easiest solution is to just do this. If you don't feel like doing that, you are not alone. Stay tuned and I'll show you a couple other ways. But first, we gotta give a shout out to our sponsor. Without this cuddly, furry creature, none of this would be possible. Alright, let's sit down, let's talk finances, okay? This is serious stuff. In fact, alright, so what we gotta do is first lay a basic foundation, a basic framework for how we want to approach this conversation. Here's the cool thing, y'all. You get to spend as much money on your van or as little money on it as you want. It's yours. I know this sounds obvious, but there's a lot of pressure to do it the way the van lifers do it. The guys who create the tutorials, the guys who have big Instagram accounts. But that's just not the case. The reality is most of the people who have made those tutorials, who have kind of laid the foundation of what a van should be or how it should be built, they're all super type A. They go the extra mile. No stone is left unturned. They're professional woodworkers or whatever. But it's resulted in them often recommending things that are unnecessary and are not cost efficient. Everybody has different priorities when it comes to their van, and it's important to clearly define what your priorities are before you start building it out. Otherwise, you can spend way too much money on stuff that isn't going to pay out like you might hope. It's one big cost-benefit analysis. How much is something going to cost? How much benefit will it bring? We have to understand that living in your van is uncomfortable. And so the money that you spend is designed to minimize the discomfort. The less money you spend, the more uncomfortable it will be. The more money you spend, the less uncomfortable it will be. If you're living in your van, it might be worth spending some money on it so that you can live a comfortable life. If you're going on surf trips, once a month or more infrequently than that, you might not want to put as much money into it. So when you're putting together your plans for your van, it's really important to be aware of that so that you can be strategic in what you spend your money on. Certain things you can skip. Certain things you can put less of. Certain things, well listen, you could put nothing in there. This cost me $40 at Walmart. This sleeping bag, probably 50 bucks. This fluffy pillow, I don't know, 12 bucks. So there you go. $102. $102, all right? Bam, that's it. Okay, you may want to put in a little bit more than that, but I'm just saying that's an option, okay? You get your van, $102, call it a day. Let's put that as the ground floor, at least. Anything beyond that is just gonna make life a little bit easier when you're in there. And that's just how you have to think of it. The more money you spend, the more comfort you're gonna have. The less money you spend, you wanna spend $102, it's doable, but it's gonna be loud, maybe it's gonna be cold, etc., etc., etc. But let's at least establish that. You get to decide how much money you put into it based off of your needs, not based off of the instructions in an online tutorial. Don't feel like your van is subpar. or there's something missing, or it's not good enough, just because you decide, hey, I'm gonna leave that out. I'm not doing solar. I'm not putting in a sink, or I'm not doing soundproofing. All of those things are totally fine if it's in line with what your goals are for your van. All right, here's what I've done specifically to save money. I'm gonna tell you everything, all right? I'm bearing my soul. So I bought my van in Texas. Vans are a couple $1,000s cheaper outside of California. There's a website where you can search all of Craigslist nationwide, and that's how I found my van. My van is also a salvage title, meaning it wasn't an accident. I bought it from the guy, the mechanic, who fixed it up. I paid $18,500 for it. It's a 2019 with 5,000 miles. A lot of people are uncomfortable with buying salvage vehicles. I am not. I love it, actually. You are taking a big risk, but it can really pay off. For me, the reward is worth the risk because you can minimize the risk by doing your due diligence, by making sure you know where the accident occurred on the vehicle, seeing pictures of it before and after, talking to the mechanic who fixed it, and just generally getting a sense of whether the guy is trustworthy or not. That's really paid off for me. But we've talked about how I got my van in the most cost-efficient way that works for me. Hopefully you've been able to at least get to that step. If not, we'll circle back to it in just a minute. The two ways that I have really worked to save money to get the van to pay for itself are as follows. Number one, I travel for my work, and I realize not everybody does this, but if you do, consider this as a real option that can save you some money. Instead of using their credit card to pay for my expenses, I told them, let me pay for my own expenses and you give me a set amount of money for each trip. They agreed to this because I told them that I would also subsidize part of the expenses myself. So that instead of me charging $150 to the company credit card for one hotel, they only need to give me $120 and I'll pay the rest. Now, they don't know I'm sleeping in my van and just keeping that $120. Otherwise, they may not have been cool with it. So to get to the numbers, what I negotiated for all of the expenses, flight, hotel, rental car, food, was about $700 each trip I go on. My trips are about a week long. So I do 2 of those a month, and that's about $1,400 that my company gives me that I get to do what I want with. Either if I fly, stay in a hotel, and get a rental car, it will just go towards those expenses. But right now, it's going towards my van. And when the van is fixed up, it goes towards maintenance on the van and surfboards. But this is one way you can try angling your situation, working it out so that that money's coming in when otherwise it wouldn't be. Now, I realize that doesn't work for everybody. If that doesn't work for you, it's okay, don't be mad. This video hopefully will still be helpful for you. An obvious way you can save money is to try to cut down on rent and put your rent money into the van. That doesn't necessarily mean you need to live in the van, but it's a numbers game. And it's not only a numbers game in the short term, but over time as well. So you have to ask yourself what your goals are. Are you trying to live in the van? Do you want it just for surfing? Are you going to live in it part-time? And that will hopefully affect your decisions when it comes to your living situation and how much rent you want to pay. But here in San Diego, $1,200 a month in rent is fairly cheap. So let's say you're paying $1,200 a month. If you can move in with a friend, if you can move in with your parents, not indefinitely, but even a short amount of time, let's say it's 2 months you move back home, or you move in with a friend and sleep on their couch. Remember, high discomfort saves money. This is the paradigm that we're working within. Sleeping on your friend's couch, yeah, that would suck. Living in your van kind of sucks. But we are entering into the van life thing with that in mind. We're sort of aware that this is the trade-off that we're making. For adventure, for good times, for a great vehicle that you can surf in and camp in, there's gonna be some discomfort. But let's say you spend 2 months on your friend's couch, paying $0 in rent. That's $2,400 that you've saved. Maybe you throw your friend a couple bones. Let's say you have $2,000. That $2,000 will get you pretty damn far. This is the insulation, insulation, insulation. That's sheep's wool, by the way. Gonna try it out. This stuff here is the sound deadening material, and this is the fan, all for about $800. So you can see for the insulation, the soundproofing, the fan, I'm already doing pretty well in terms of getting started into my build, and I still have money left over from my rent money. Now, you're not going to sleep on your friend's couch indefinitely, but if you're willing to make some sacrifices in the short term, you can get the van up and running into a pretty comfortable situation fairly quickly, if you're willing to do the work yourself. Listen, that's all we have time for today. There's a few other things that I want to share with you about how you can keep the cost down during the conversion process. And I want to share those in some upcoming videos. So stay tuned for more, and thanks for following along. If you can, subscribe to the channel, like it, comment if you have any questions or any feedback for me. I'd love to hear from you guys. Check out my website. It's johnnyblue.com. There's 3 N's, no H. It's kind of confusing, but I was a little late to the whole website party. You can follow along on Instagram as well. All of these links will be down in the description. Again, thanks guys, appreciate you. Catch you next time.